What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. If you're already a subscriber, but if this is your first time joining me on today, stop what you're doing. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you press that notification bell so that way you'll be able to know when I make a post, okay? And if you are interested in scheduling a reading, go ahead, hit me up at astrowerld. That's ASTROWERLD at gmail.com, and then we can go ahead and make that happen. I'll make sure I drop that email in the description box for you guys down below. So with that being said, I wanted to do a celebrity birth chart reading on Miss Nicki Minaj, and I was like, duh, like I don't even know why I haven't done one on her sooner, just because she is one of my favorite rappers, period. Not even just female rappers, but just as an artist, as a MC, as a lyricist. I respect her flow. I respect her artistry and everything that she's about. And I've loved Nicki Minaj since like 2007. So there's still a lot of nostalgia for me that's tied to her music. And despite the most recent kind of hate train thing, Nicki versus Cardi situation, I'm one of those people who I don't necessarily dislike Cardi, because let's be real, I mean, they can both exist in the same place and time. And I find them to be two different kind of artists. Cardi B is like a karaoke rap artist, while Nicki Minaj is an actual lyricist. So I think, to even put them in the same sentence is to compare apples to oranges. And I personally find, like, I understand exactly where Nicki is coming from. The reason why a lot of people label her as bitter, and just the whole concept of working very hard at your craft just to have another person come along and not even do that and then get the recognition. But whatever. But that's not to say Nicki doesn't have problematic ways, and we're going to get into that because her chart is she got some shit going on, okay? So with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and dive into the chart of Miss Nicki Minaj. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? So Nicki Minaj was born Onika Mirage on December 8th, 1982 in St. James City of Port Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. I forgot she was from Trinidad. I was like, hold the fuck up now. But then her family ended up moving to New York, Queens, New York, when she was like, I don't know, like 9 or something like that. So anywho, this makes her a Sagittarius sun. Her sun is in the 16th degree of Sagittarius and a Virgo moon. And with her moon being at the 28th degree, which is 1 degree off from that anaretic degree, the dreaded number 29, this could definitely create an emotionally unstable person, just to put it very mildly. It also comes with a lot of like scandals, because your moon also represents your reputation. A Virgo moon also makes for a very, very youthful looking mother, because Virgo is the sign of youth. And when you look at Nicki's mom, her mom looks damn good. You hear me? Damn good to be having like 30 something and 40 something year old children. And that's just a common theme that I see with almost everybody, like, who has a Virgo moon. These people have moms who are like, damn, like, that's your mama. Another example that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is Jada Pinkett Smith. She has her moon in Virgo, and her mama looks young. Her mama looks fucking good, and she's like in her 70s, but she's ripped. I mean, like, just bad. And Nicki is a hardcore Sagittarius, because her sun is conjoined to her Mercury, her Venus, her Uranus, and her Neptune. So it definitely accounts for her very like grand, larger than life personality. It makes her very charming, very witty. And also, particularly with her Mercury in that 26th degree of Sagittarius, this could symbolize her family coming from, what was it, Trinidad to New York. So because Sagittarius, well, Mercury, first of all, rules the 3rd house naturally, which is like your childhood, early childhood, lower level communication, your neighbors, your immediate surroundings. But then Sagittarius is the natural ruler of the ninth house, which dictates long distance travel. So this could actually symbolize she and her family coming all of that way from Trinidad to New York, being foreign, traveling to foreign lands, or not being of this country originally. Now, something that jumped out at me just about her chart is the fact that she has a lot of Saturn/Capricorn energy in her chart. And that is usually associated with somebody who is very, hardworking, but like very rigid, disciplined, structured, business focused. And I mean, you can describe Nicki with all of these adjectives. I mean, just because she is, you can say what you want about her. You can have your own opinion on her, especially her personality, right? But she definitely is a businesswoman, a business mogul. So, and it starts with her birthday being on the 8th of December. That number 8 carries that, like I said, that Saturn/Capricorn energy. And then also her Mars is in the 28th degree of Capricorn. Like I said, that 1 degree off from the anaretic degree. So that 28th degree kind of carries some of that same energy signature. And this could actually point towards her being married to her career. And this is reinforced with her Mars being conjoined to her Black Moon Lilith, as well as her Juno and her South Node in Capricorn. Oh my God. So yeah, Nicki has a lot of this Saturn energy, and it makes her somebody who is very domineering, very much a materialistic kind of person, especially with her Black Moon Lilith being in the 18th degree, because that number 18 deals directly with materialism, and it creates a hypersexual type personality. And this placement actually can create somebody who uses their sexuality strategically to seduce people in power, or strategically use their bodies to get what they want, or to even put people under a spell in a way. And I thought that was very interesting because Nicki has always sold her sexuality. It's always been a selling point for her. And it's actually one of the criticisms that she gets now, because people talk about, oh, she's 35 and she's still talking about her pussy, my pussy, my pussy. And I mean, she is a very hypersexual kind of person, and a lot of her music reflects that. So I thought that was very interesting. This aspect also points towards somebody who is very much like status and recognition driven. And this goes back to Nicki always feeling the need to point to her plaques and look at the platinum plaques. Look what I got. And, I'm number one in the game, especially when she was doing, had her little run when there was like no other mainstream female competitors in her industry, right? So she was very much in her bag. She loves to bring up, oh, I got more hits than Aretha, and, just all of her accomplishments, because people with this strong Capricorn energy like this, like I said, this Black Moon Lilith, her Mars, I mean, oh my God, Capricorn South Nodes, like they thrive off of this. This is how they gain their confidence, right? And as a result, these people can be very arrogant. And Nicki does come off as a bitch. Like, I love her musically, like, professionally, but she seems like she would be a person that very much is a bitch behind the scenes, very elitist. And this could produce somebody who treats people like pawns, or who treats people who can't do anything for them like shit, which once again, I would not be surprised if Nicki was that type of person. A lot of people have been talking and speculating and just talking about how terrible she is to work with behind the scenes. And this placement also creates a bully. Now, with this, her Mars being in the 28th degree, like I said, brings about a lot of scandal. This could also give way towards there being headlines and different things that come out about her in the media, just about, oh, Nicki's stopping bags and Nicki's doing this and Nicki's being a bitch behind the scenes. So you can attribute a lot of that to her Mars being at that 28th degree. But this could also deal with somebody who I mean, maybe even in a previous life, because your South Node represents. If you believe in previous lifetimes, that South Node could represent what you did in the past life. So this placement could point towards Nicki being somebody who was probably like a politician or an elitist, maybe in a previous life. She had full control and reign over other people, and just completely misused and abused her power and authority. And she comes here with an innate drive, like I said, for that recognition. But as a result, she will stop at nothing, and like there's no limit to what she'll do or where she'll go in order to achieve like very much physical, tangible things, money, resources, what she feels to be power. And with her Juno aspect in this as well, this could be her seeking out attractive, well, not really attractive, but to her it's attractive. She finds men who are powerful, either in like financially, rich, wealthy men, or men who are powerful in status, right? So for instance, let's take a look at her most recent boy toy that she has, right? The nigga that went to jail for rape and who's like a convicted murderer. So he's definitely a street dude, right? And a lot of people are like, well, what does Nicki want with him? And why does this is so different from the other guys she would date? And because after she left Safari, she spent a good amount of time kind of mingling with wealthier guys. And I mean, in all her music, all she does is talk about how, fuck a nigga, have him spend money on you, this, that, and the third. So you would assume she would want a guy who is famous or who has a lot of money to offer. But from what I'm understanding, this dude is just he's not your run-of-the-mill street guy in the sense of like power and influence, but he definitely does not have the money that Nicki is kind of accustomed to him in. And the reason behind this is, like I said, because of that power. It's also been known that this guy, whatever his name is a well-known, reputable street nigga. And I think he's also one of like the more prestigious member of the Bloods. So he carries a lot of what he lacks in financial power. He makes up for in respect and, kind of like that street affluence. And I think Nicki is one of those types, especially with this placement, is the type of person who gets off on that. She gets off on being around men who are very dominant and very machismo. And like I said, if they're not the type of men who can afford anything and can buy the whole world, they can definitely be the type of men who have that respect and really could get a nigga killed on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Who really, it does something to her ego. It makes her feel good. Like, okay, it solidifies her, kind of her feeling like, oh yeah, I'm that bitch, because I have that type of guy. So this placement deals directly with her attractive men like that. And a lot of time they could be men who have very nasty inclinations, men who have ulterior motives, and probably are even using her in the same respect to come up. And that's kind of interesting, because there was also a headline or a blog that was talking about how this new dude, whatever his name is, her new, gangbang boyfriend had like an ex-girlfriend or a baby mother or somebody that he used to deal with. And long story short, it was revealed that he was texting this lady around the same time that he had started dating Nicki Minaj. And the girl was basically confronting him like, dang, you're leaving me for Nicki. Like, are you fucking around on me for Nicki? And he told her in so many words, like, chill, I'm trying to get this bag. So yeah, that could definitely be attributed to her Juno being conjoined to that Black Moon Lilith and her South Node and her Mars in the sign of Capricorn. And with her being a Capricorn South Node, this could also deal with, like I said, Nicki just being very much married to her work, okay? And somebody who in this lifetime is just more comfortable with being devoted towards just outward achievements, and even placing a lot of her self-worth in the things that she's able to accomplish in her career, which is why I feel like she fights so relentlessly when it comes to like defending herself, you know, and it doesn't make it right, like the way that she goes about doing it. But people are always like, well, Nicki, why doesn't she just, you know, fall back? She just needs to fall back and let other people get their shine. And I think that for her, with her Mars being conjoined to her South Node, she just has an innate drive. Because remember, your Mars, it's your passions. It's the things that fuels you. It's kind of even how you view the world, the things that drive you. So, you know, this could absolutely make her somebody who she's just impulsively inclined to be that way. You know what I'm saying? And on the contrary, she has to sacrifice a lot of her personal relationships with people, even family, in order to be where she is. And I found this to be interesting, this placement also to be interesting, because she actually, I believe she spoke about this in a previous album. She had an abortion when she was like 16 years old. And she actually frequently speaks of having children, or at least wanting children, but she never really felt comfortable with doing it. And I don't know if she outright like admitted the reason why she never, you know, had kids, you know, before now, or like, or she made it about the men, like she never found the right man or whatever. But based off of this position, this aspect, especially her lunar node placements, this could absolutely be her feeling like she wanted to achieve certain things in her career before she settled down and have kids. This could be her feeling like family, you know, especially creating a family of her own, was something that was only going to slow her down and kind of hinder her progress. But all in all, I think she is going to find healing, and ultimately that's part of her soul's mission in this lifetime, is to be a mother. But let me see, because I've also heard that she has like reproductive issues. So let me see if there's anything in her chart that could possibly echo that sentiment. Yeah. So Nicki is apparently an Aquarius ascendant, which makes Gemini fall in her fifth house cusp. And in astrology, your fifth house deals with children, as well as your recreational activities, your hobbies, even your dating life. But her Mercury is kind of afflicted in the sense that it makes a quincunx to her Chiron. And this could possibly produce some issues with having children. But another interpretation of this could even be a weird relationship between she and her brother, which is like, because I mean, Mercury represents siblings. And with her Chiron falling in her fourth house, because her Chiron is in the sign of Taurus. So, which a lot of celebrities have that placement simply because it does deal with like issues with like assigning your value to material items, right? Because Taurus is the natural ruler of the second house. So these people tend to place a lot of value in the things that they have, which a lot of celebrities do. However, being placed in the fourth house of family, yeah, this could deal with people who grew up poor, right? Who grew up in very destitute circumstances, which Nicki did. But this could also deal with somebody who suffered abuse by hands of their siblings. And yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised. Her brother is a full-blown pedophile who was actually recently convicted for fucking his 12-year-old stepdaughter, I think she was. So that's very cringy. But back to her Black Moon Lilith placement. Sorry, I know I'm kind of just jumping all over the place because like I make notes on certain things and then I look over the chart in real time and then I get carried away with certain things and then I'll jump back to my notes. And so forgive me, y'all. Forgive me. But I want to make sure I get all the information out there. But another thing about her Black Moon Lilith placement is that this could create somebody who like I was saying, like that theme of like manipulation and somebody who can be very sadistic and domineering and just even downright cruel, like a bully to other people. But this can also create somebody, especially with this 18th degree, who develops or attracts a lot of hate, in their career, a lot of hate amongst their peers. Somebody who has a reputation for other people being disposable. Somebody who is also very strategic, especially being conjoined to that Mars. Somebody who's very strategic in like the way that they handle their disputes with other people, which could definitely be you can look at her issue with Cardi B, or I mean really just anybody, to reflect this position, because a lot of people say that Nicki will be one way in public, but secretly behind the scenes she'll be making sure, you know what I'm saying, you don't make no money, or you know, that whole stop in the bag kind of theory, and just her being like this very cunning, manipulative person. And yeah, so yeah, that's that 18th degree Juno in Capricorn. Let's see. Also, the whole concept of her making enemies by, you know, just through this behavior is reinforced as her Mars is squaring her Pluto in the sign of Libra. Now, and her Pluto, is at the 28th degree of Libra. So there goes that 28th degree again, which once again, like I said, deals with upheavals, conflicts. And I mean, anytime you have like Pluto just at the anaretic degree or close to the anaretic degree, this person has an issue with like learning their fucking lesson, and like they are very resistant to change, okay? Because that Pluto is all about transformation. But furthermore, in Nicki's case, this creates open enemies, because Libra is the natural ruler of the 7th house in astrology, which deals with, relationships and marriage, but it's also open enemies. So this could be her creating even people that she used to date. This could be her creating enemies out of these people that, you know, like ex-boyfriends turning on her, which is very interesting because Safari after she and Safari publicly broke up, he basically insinuated that he wrote her raps. Like, he didn't say it directly, but he kind of led other people to believe that. And he would do a lot of like this passive aggressive bullshit, to where, you know, you could tell that in a roundabout way, he was kind of looking to, like get back at her. And I don't know if he sued her for like, because he was saying that he was like in charge of certain creative aspects on some of her former projects. So I don't know if he sued her or whatever, because I think for a minute he was talking about getting money. But yeah, because, you know, Libra does deal with legalities and court issues and business. This could be somebody who has a former partner or whatever come back and try to sue them. You know what I'm saying? Get at you financially in your pockets. And this aspect can also produce somebody who is sued a lot, like by former employees. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a headline where, like, I don't know, Nicki's ex-stylist, hairdresser, somebody, I know she's been slandered publicly. I'll drop down in the comment section below and let me know. I know she's been slandered, you know, as far as like her firing somebody. I don't know if they actually sued her, but yeah, this could definitely produce somebody who makes a lot of enemies, amongst former business partners or people who work with them very closely. And another way to interpret this, her Mars squaring her Pluto in Libra, is her being attracted to niggas who are tangled up in the justice system. Like I said, this new nigga that she went down was in prison for half of his damn life. And then Meek Mill was in prison for a minute. So this could be her attracting jailbirds also, as well as attracting abusive, domineering relationships. And this could indicate her being, her being the abuser, if you want to be honest. But it could definitely go both ways, because with this aspect, these people, Mars square Pluto, people tend to be very controlling, very obsessive, very dramatic, especially with her Pluto being in Libra, damn near at this anoretic degree. Nicki could be just downright just hard to deal with, hard to put up with, right? And definitely the type of person that if you let her run over you, she absolutely will. And this in turn could create a response from a man that it could take a sharp left turn. Like this shit can get real. Like, and this is how you end up in domestic violence kind of situations. And I think she even came forward and said that she had been physically abused as well. Like, some nigga beat her ass. And I mean, I do not condone domestic violence in any shape, way, form, or fashion. But Nicki definitely, she gives me the I will hit a nigga T. Like, if we get into an argument, especially with this placement, yeah, and then the nigga just turn around and knock your ass between the washer and dryer, and now you looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I think Safari even came out publicly and said Nicki actually cut him, like physically cut him, and he had to lie to say that I don't know, like whatever the fuck, but he lied to protect her so that she wouldn't go to jail, really. So yeah, this could definitely deal with very toxic relationships. Also, I meant to point this out earlier. I know that with this her lunar node placement, right? Her south node being a Capricorn and her being a Cancer north node. These people tend to have issues balancing out masculinity, like their masculinity versus femininity. Now, in one of my previous videos, because I made the mistake of describing Capricorn as a masculine sign, which is not true. And one of my subscribers pointed this out, or she called me on it. Because technically, Capricorn is a feminine sign. However, it also, I guess it depends on which astrology you ask, to be honest. It has a very strong masculine energy associated with it because it's ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is, it's symbolized by the father in astrology. Saturn is synonymous with very much like male, masculine, domineering kind of energy. So with that being said, people with this placement tend to, like, in women, it could create women who don't do that well with other women. Women who are very good at being like one of the boys, right? One of the guys. And they have this complex to where they have to be the only woman in a group of people. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I think Nicki definitely fits that profile in so many different ways. And a part of her achieving her North Node, her soul mission, is her being able to be vulnerable. And that's a big issue with this lunar node placement. These people feel the need to be so guarded, and they're so out of touch with their femininity because to them it represents weakness, right? It represents being out of control of something. And I think, especially with all of these aspects in her chart that kind of point towards Nicki having control issues, and honestly, her having huge self-esteem problems, especially with that Virgo moon, okay? She makes up for what she feels like she lacks with honestly just her achievements, with monetary things and things that she can kind of brag about, but they're all very superficial. Her feeling like she has some type of control over her life in the direction that it's headed, but it's like a catch-22 because the deeper she dives into those achievements and the deeper that she dives into the physical, like the more she loses herself and the more people kind of look at her like, all right, Nicki, give it the fuck up. Like, bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think she'll be a lot happier being vulnerable. And this could even, you could see this in her music, because her music, and this is another criticism that I hear of her, is that it lacks a lot of depth. Her subject matter has definitely remained for the most part focused on my pussy good, my pussy juicy, this nigga did this, and a lot of people are saying like, yeah, Nicki, you need to be making a different type of music and show people. And I don't really like the ageism part of it, because I feel like nobody really does that to men. 2 Chainz is like 40 years old, and this nigga still rapping about like the same shit he's always rapped about, and so do other old ass nigga rappers. But I will say that just from an astrological standpoint, her opening up and becoming more transparent about her feelings and the things that are a little bit more unbecoming of her and things that will make her feel a little bit more vulnerable and naked will manifest a lot of success for her in her career. And remember what I said as far as her Pluto being at the 28th degree indicates an issue just with change, and especially with her Chiron being in Taurus too. You know, that could, because Taurus is a very slow moving sign. These could be people who take a long time making a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Spend a lot of time clinging to a certain thing, even though it's not working out for them. And this could also be their, you know, the way they approach their work life. Now, I couldn't help but notice that her Mercury was conjoined to her Neptune. And they're both at the 26th degree of Sagittarius. And number one, this points towards Nicki being a fucking liar. Just straight up. And with the 26 breaking down to the number 8, this produces somebody who likes to intentionally misrepresent things to make them look better. And you could tell this has a lot to do with her, just how she looks professionally, right? She's the type of person who would lie or intentionally make things look a certain way when that's really not the case, in order to protect her reputation and protect the way that people view her and her status and stuff like that. This could be her being like the type of person to quote very much like meaningless stats. Or the thing that is coming to my mind is when she went on like that whole tirade about Travis Scott and the way that he was like bundling shirts with his album sales, and then they were counting like his shirt sales were counting as album sales. So the fact that he had the number 1 album in America when she came in at number 2 on the Billboard charts, she was saying like, oh, it doesn't count. But when in reality, a lot of people did some digging and they found that I think Nicki's team wanted to arrange that same kind of deal. You know what I'm saying? So that she can bundle her album sales with her merch as well. But for whatever the case, you know, whatever the reason, whatever the case might be, they couldn't do it. So as a result, she like turned around and made Travis Scott out to be a type of person who was like wrong for doing what he did. You know, so that's that Mercury conjoined to Neptune type shit. Like, and I mean, it's not as hardcore as if she would have had Mercury square Neptune, but yeah, I mean, these people on the brighter side, these people can be very creative. So this does point towards her being like an amazing writer and shit. But yeah, Nicki can, she's a liar, period. And then with her Mercury and Neptune squaring her moon, this could actually, it points towards a couple things. Number one, it points towards Nicki being on some type of drug, okay? And she has a lot of indicators in her chart of her being, just like having high inclination towards substance abuse, especially with all that Sagittarius energy. That Jupiter ain't no hoe, because it does bring about addiction problems. But this aspect could definitely reinforce her having an issue with a substance. And I mean, to be honest with you, Nicki has rapped about popping pills for as long as I can remember. And then as of recent, there have been other people who have come out in, just little ways saying like, yeah, calling Nicki like a dope head, a pill head, or whatever the fuck. And then with them making such a hard aspect to her moon, I wouldn't be surprised if more details came out about her drug usage later on, to the point where it's like right in our faces, like, oh, Nicki, like where they try to you know, where she possibly gets caught up like on some scandalous type shit based off of her using a substance. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to make this video too long. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But I just wanted to bring up some of the more interesting parts of her chart that just jumped out at me. So you guys, make sure you drop down in this comment section down below. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you thought about the video, as well as any suggestions that you may have for me to do a reading on your favorite celebrity. And with that being said, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And as always, darling, until next time, I